おはようございます。こんにちは。こんばんは。私の名前はマークです。元気ですか？友達の Ricky さんです。
Ricky.
We're doing a Japanese thing today, Ricky.
Whoa, yes.
So we're going to do, this is a music matchup. We're going to compare Ningen Isu, their song, let's see, Color Out of Space. And we're going to compare it to Black Sabbath's Behind the Wall of Sleep. Now, I know you know Behind the Wall of Sleep.
Oh, yes, very well.
Because I wrote a story that I asked Ricky to put music to, and one of the things I specifically sent him was Black Sabbath's Behind the Wall of Sleep. So I thought we would take a look at these two. Ningen Isu is apparently is a Japanese band. This song is from 2014. It's obviously about H.P. Lovecraft. Behind the Wall of Sleep.
Evil Dead.
That's right, is about H.P. Lovecraft. So I thought we'd put these things head to head.
Yes.
And just kind of give them a look. Now, have you heard of Ningen Isu before?
I haven't. I'm looking forward to it.
This is one of the first songs I think I've heard by them, and I was in love with it the moment that I saw it. So, folks, I speak that what you just heard of my Japanese is 90% of my Japanese. So I have the Japanese translations pulled up so Ricky and I can follow along. But before we do Ningen Isu first, let's do Black Sabbath's Behind the Wall of Sleep.
Impression.
That is his impression from that time period. It was just this.
Holding the mic. Yeah.
It was just this with the hair waving.
Yeah.
That was just it. So, I mean, obviously, Black Sabbath is just an absolute classic. And
beast.
Yeah, and this album, and Ozzy, and Tony, and all of them are so great. What are your thoughts about Black Sabbath from this time period?
I mean, I loved him. I have a cousin that was a big Black Sabbath fan. I used to listen to his records, and it's just amazing. A little music theory lesson for you, but you know, a signature staple of Black Sabbath sound is they use a lot of what's called the diminished fifth, which is a very unusual interval, the tritone. For a while, it was called the devil interval. You know, that's kind of a myth or so, but the flat five, which gives it that weird kind of dark sound.
Is that Tony doing that?
Oh, yeah, purposely. He talks about that. Yeah.
Wow.
Well, on the licks and the chords. Oh, I love Sabbath. Love it.
That's awesome. Well, I'm excited for you to hear now Ningen Isu because their song, Color Out of Space, I think you're going to enjoy as well.
I like the aesthetic.
Yeah, it's gorgeous.
War and Terror. Darkness and light.
What are you thinking so far?
It is so weird and cool. Seeing this old guy in these traditional robes playing, what's that called? SG guitar, which I think is what Tony Iommi used to play.
Oh, is that it?
The same guitar. And
I was thinking it looks like that one that Angus used to use.
It's the same one.
Oh, it's the same one. Okay.
Yeah, I think so. It's kind of surreal. And the bass player is giving me like Gene Simmons vibes.
Oh, he kind of is.
And he's all painted, and it's awesome.
So I can't decide if he's trying to look like Death from the Seventh Seal or Bill and Ted. That's right. Yeah.
Damn right. Twister. Let's play some Twister.
So here's the lyrics translated. Hopefully it's a good translation. Traveling through the horrifying distance in time and space from the farthest part of the universe filled with the disgusting signs, dark idiots come to our planet, escaped out of the cycle of reincarnation, making nothing out of the dimensions. It's very Lovecraft.
Oh, yeah.
And I really like listening to it back to back with Black Sabbath because, it just feels like that dark, crunchy. Yeah. And what's that type of rock called, Ricky? It's like stoner rock, but acid rock or whatever it is, like that time period during the 70s.
Psychedelic?
Yeah, psychedelic rock. Yeah. It's got that same feel to it.
Yeah. You definitely can hear the Sabbath vibes.
Yes, absolutely. All right, let's go back to Black Sabbath.
Listen to Sabbath, I still think of like all the hundreds of bands that have been influenced by this music.
Yeah.
And like think what was before.
Right.
And it just still blows my mind, and it still sounds fresh, and it still sounds so cool, and it's just amazing. It's like a great thing to listen to.
And I read, I told you before, I've been reading that Eddie Van Halen book, Eruptions.
Yeah.
And there's an extended conversation between Eddie and Tony Iommi in there, and it's just a fascinating look at two, like, really guitar heroes. But yeah, they really did just kind of define a sound. Yeah. And I can't remember the musician historian's name, but he essentially said that in this book, God, I can't remember it off the top of my head, but essentially that...
Too many beers.
That Zeppelin and Sabbath essentially created what we would know as the heavy metal sound.
Yeah.
Because Sabbath was essentially that psychedelic rock, where Zeppelin was kind of that...
the more
blues rock, and those two melding together formed what we would later know as, like, heavy metal. AC/DC and Van Halen and all these bands. But yeah, man, it's just so great. All right, back to Ninjaness. So to me, that part sounded Sabbathy, and then we move into almost Megadethy.
Yeah.
Oh. getting into it, Ricky. I appreciate a man.
Oh, yeah.
Look at this guy. Oh, I appreciate a man who understands theatrics.
I was just thinking, like, the bass player looks kind of like this death figure. The guitarist is kind of a traditional Japanese, and then the drummer looks like they're from a disco band or something. I was like,
Kind of does.
eclectic.
And their lead singer looks like a guy who would seat you at the Japanese restaurant.
Oh, yeah.
Irashimasu!
Yeah.
I know he's got the little paper thing he's writing down what you like. He looks like just a perfect gentleman. And then the other guys are purely psychotic. Yeah, that guy. How many people? 3 people? You got 4?
Yeah,
We'll seat
3.
We'll seat you at the bar.
Trying to see what that sound was. It's not cowbell. That is Sabbath.
Yeah. And I was about to say, it sounds so much like Sabbath.
Here's my impression.
You know, you mentioned Simmons a minute ago. He's got the Gene roll.
Oh, yeah.
Doing the faces.
He even did the tongue earlier.
Yeah, he did. And then doing the lyrics, too, where he's... Yeah.
Okay, I gotta ask you. You gotta bring out the sword, man. You got.
Dude, we bring the swords out?
You gotta bring out the sword.
Okay.
You gotta bring out the sword. Oh, Master!
You gotta hold the swords.
Master!
All right, let's
Oh!
I think this improves every video.
Oh, yes.
All right, let's do it, fellas. You take it, Ricky. Yeah!
Man, I think this is a real party. Am I bleeding a little bit there?
Did you cut yourself?
Is there a little bit of blood?
You gotta be careful. It's a real sword, Ricky.
I think I got a little bit. Let me squeeze.
Blood! We've dealt with this before. It's a real sword. So I know this is probably not going to resonate with you, but like the geography of this.
I was just thinking that, like all the different locations.
Yeah, so this feels to me, and I don't know if it is, this feels to me like in the northern area of Japan, like up in the Hokkaido region, up near like Noburibetsu and stuff like that, because that's near where like there's a lot of volcanic hot springs.
Okay.
But then like right next to all that area, there's huge farmland with all of these gorgeous trees and that type of stuff.
Okay.
It feels like that to me, and I'm sure someone will correct me and tell me how wrong I am, but to me it feels like that northern part. Because like down in south, you have like in Kyoto, you have these huge bamboo forests. And I'm not really seeing any of this. This is kind of like the northern area up there, like Hakadote and Hakone and all that stuff.
Sure.
But it's gorgeous. But like literally, you would walk out everywhere in Japan in the morning. You walk out and it would look just like this. It was just so serene and beautiful.
And it looks like they're kind of going for like the Seven Samurai vibe, or
Yeah.
those what's his name? Someone
Kurosawa
stuff, you know,
yeah,
and
kinda,
all that landscape,
or like the Yojimbo stuff. Yeah.
It's awesome.
And I know I've told this story before, but when we were in Japan, in Shinjuku, so Shinjuku is kind of like, there's a ton of bars and stuff there. There's a little subsection called the Golden Gai, Gai, and it's like where all these little izakayas and tiny, tiny bars. When I mean tiny, like Ricky, sometimes it's like just this. And there's one dude and there's 3 chairs, and that's the bar.
That's it.
But there's one called Deathmatch in Hell. And so we had been, we'd been drinking in Shinjuku and just walking around through the Golden Gai, and my wife's like, "Is that a picture of Ash?" I think that it is, and I think that's Leatherface right next to him. And we go over, and it's a bar dedicated to horror movies and heavy metal. And the guy who runs it, I can't remember his actual name, but we called him Japanese Wayne because he looked like Wayne from Wayne's World. In fact, he was wearing the Wayne's World hat. And there was the raddest bar I've ever been to.
Horror movies, heavy metal, and Wayne's your bartender. I just fainted.
I know, and the entire walls were posted with it was wallpapered with old Fangoria magazines. The entire freaking thing. And as we're sitting there looking at the whiskey menu, I'm reading the different whiskeys and trying to decide which one I want, and I hear the music over the thing, and I was like, "Lee, is that Metallica?" And Wayne, who is like on the other side of the bar, not even turned around, he just goes, "Hey, seek and destroy!" And he gave me the horns.
Yeah.
I was like, "This fucking bar is off the hook. We're closing it down." And so we stayed there as late as he would let us. We stayed with Wayne forever. It was great.
World peace. Horror movies, heavy metal.
Heavy metal
and booze.
That's right. We got to end on him. They know. That guy's a star. All right, let's finish color or what?
Hey, wait, I'm looking at some of the lyrics though.
Oh, yes.
Shapeless beings, nameless monsters, evil evils.
Yeah.
Underworld darkness.
Yes.
From the Kuiper belt. It's like, oh, color from the underworld. Oh.
I know we should have read through them. I got so excited about the actual music, but I feel like we'll need to go back and reread it.
Oh,
yeah,
my
laughing
gosh.
at our science, they dive into the wormhole. Beat the hell out of our hopes, sipping dark matter, spread out diseases from the Oort cloud, bringing in vengeful ghosts from the Kuiper belt. Dude, that is so Lovecraft.
Oh.
Okay, here we go. What's occurring to me just like listening to this with you, Ricky, is that like there's so many bands that I think feel that they go like super complicated with the arrangements and the instruments and stuff like that. This is, I mean, just that riff, super simple. It's the tone that they're getting. It's the feel that it's kind of like old AC/DC stuff, like Dirty Deeds, essentially just like E, G, and like D. That's it.
Yeah, it is. It's very simple.
But it's so iconic, and I feel like it's the tone they're getting.
I think part of it might be the chemistry too, the musicians, which a lot of people don't think about.
Just
much.
gelling together.
Yeah, it's just like gelling, or sometimes that tension, or it just kind of works.
Yeah.
You know, that's the magic of art. Is like what makes it work.
No one really knows.
Yeah. And there are all these books on formulas and, oh, it's this and this. It's all bullshit. It's like...
This from a music professor.
Yeah.
It's all...
There is kind of a magic to it. It's like, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. And with Sabbath, it worked.
Yeah, and it's, obviously some of Tony's guitar stuff is super complicated and very well done.
Yeah.
I guess my point is like just the riff.
Yeah.
So memorable.
Yeah.
And pretty simple.
Yeah. And even that drum beat's not super complicated.
Right.
But every once in a while, there's a little thing. It's just something.
Throwing something in
about
there.
it. We talk a lot about live performances. I've never seen Sabbath live. Have you?
No, I've seen Ozzy.
Oh, same here.
I've seen Ozzy several times, but no, they Black Sabbath reformed in like 2010 or something and brought Oz back. But I don't think I ever saw him with Tony Iommi and those guys. I've seen him with Zakk Wylde and that crew.
Yeah.
No. But and I'm me spitballing here. I'm wondering too if it has something to do with like the drugs of the time.
Oh, sure.
I mean, because this is going to be like way more weed and alcohol. But then you get up into the 80s, it's going to be all coke. And I'm wondering, like, C.C. DeVille is firmly because of cocaine. I feel like everything he did was just coke fueled.
Yeah.
But what if we had him on just weed and Jack Daniels? Would it have been a much better band, do you think?
Yeah. Yeah. There's the same concept in jazz music as like everyone was high on heroin, which is bebop, and it was playing really fast, and everyone started doing dope, and you had the cool jazz and Miles Davis and the smoky. It's the same thing, man. You're right, And,
well, and I mean, obviously, Black Sabbath had Sweet Leaf, so like they just told you straight out what their drug of choice was.
Sure.
But watching Oz just sway like that, well, that's a recognizable. Like,
and even
movement.
the words, I'm stoned. This works. Everyone's like, genius. Yeah.
Well, I really enjoyed this Ningen Isu song.
Oh, I did too. It's awesome.
So good. So, folks, let us know in the comments what you think about this one. Ricky and I had a ton of fun. Usually we put these songs head to head, see which one comes out on top. I don't think you can do that in this case.
No, I love them both. Love them.
So great. So let us know what you think in the comments. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. We are growing, but only with your help. And take care of yourselves, folks. Ricky and I will sway to you soon.